Hey guys, welcome back. It is currently the holiday season, and we're coming up on getting very it's getting very close to Christmas. And I'm going to be talking about a show that's been on my Netflix watch list for the last 2 years. But the show that I'm talking about is Dash and Lily. The show is big. The show quickly became like a like a guilty like a guilty pleasure of mine. It's been like a huge favorite of mine. Even when it's not Christmas, like it'll be June or May, and I'll just like casually get the urge to watch the show again. I think that's like the whole point of the show. Like sometimes like it's kind of like a casual Christmas rom-com, and it the show is a rom-com Christmas show that released on Netflix in 2020. It was adapted from a book series of the same name called Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, which has become popular among readers, and it's reached huge amounts of popularity on Netflix, spanning about 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very huge for Netflix. So I basically see. I feel like you just see at best it's 90% at Rotten Tomatoes when you see something that's on Netflix. Sometimes it's 70, but for this show it's at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The setting takes place in New York City. It's like a very beautiful letter to New York City. Another huge reason why I like the show so much is because it's set in New York City. Really want to live in New York City. Really love to live in New York City. The whole plot centers around a boy named Dash who finds a red notebook in the Strand bookstore, which is a real place, by the way, in New York City. You can go visit it. The book was left by Lily, and it's full of dares and intrigue. She tries to find out who she is, and along the way, the two get to know each other through the dares to get along the way the two go on a little bit of adventure around New York City separately throughout, and in the process they fall in love in the span of 8 episodes. Typical rom-com fashion, but it's not so typical and cliche or cheesy. It has a bit of realism to an extent, but overall it's the right amount of cliche rom-comness for a Christmas movie. And it stars Austin Abrams. If you would have seen him in Chemical Hearts, Euphoria, that's where I know him personally. That's where I've seen him. And Do Revenge, if you've seen that movie. And Midori Francis, you would have seen her in Grey's Anatomy, I think. And for me, I've seen her in Life After the Party with Victoria Justice. And she's kind of a newcomer at that time, and she did pretty good in this show. And the cast is wonderfully diverse, with having a mixture of European and Japanese family where Lily comes from, black characters, other people of color, and LGBTQ plus representation. And it's a very huge contrast to me. It's very important, especially in the setting of New York City, because over the years we have seen a huge whitewashed version of New York City, and it's one of the most diverse cities in the world. It really is. And New York has many of different backgrounds and all this different kinds of people. Many of the shows over the years contributed to the whitewashedness of New York. Shows that come to mind: Seinfeld, Friends. As much as I love Friends, they could have used more diversity than just simply 6 white actors in New York City. And it didn't help that everywhere you go, they just show small portions of New York City. They only use people of color as like background characters, and the only black person they brought to the show was just basically like a love interest for Ross, who then just later just like they just broke up, like in order for him to like get back with Rachel, because it was just like a pot like just some like another like stepping ground for them to, like get back together. Well, technically like she dumped him to get back with her ex, but that was like the whole point of her character, which not many people have liked. I didn't really care for that either. Anyway, New York in general in the show was mostly like used as like a wonderful like third character, because like all of their like dares like took place around many different like parts of New York City. One part in particular, Hyde Park. I had to like look up like what like where is Hyde Park, is if that was like real. And it's like a real neighborhood in Brooklyn. And it's like mostly like visited throughout like Christmas, because they have like Christmas tree decorations, and it's pretty good. I might look into those neighborhoods if I like truly like move to like New York City. Also, like, excuse my voice, because like I'm trying to like I'm fighting off kind of like a congestion right now. I don't know if I'm like getting sick, but if my voice kind of like sounds like a little bit weird, but that's only because like I'm just like a little congested right now. But anyway, next I'm gonna be like talking about like the two like main characters. Well, wait, also, even though like we're seeing like a very diverse cast of like characters, one like thing still stands. We're still like kind of like centering over the story, kind of like centers around like wealthy like little like rich kids in New York City, because Dash comes from a rich family to an extent. Like they're obviously rich because of like his dad's apartment and his mom like taking trips to like Miami, I think. And also like all of his friends are like casually like, going out to clubs, and like his friends are rich too. Well, not like all of his friends, but like his old social circle of friends are like very rich. The next like segment of the podcast, I'm going to be talking about the characters in particular. The two main characters I'm going to talk about first. And I'm going to like talk about like how I like relate to them. So the first up is Dash, and he's a very cynical guy who recently got dumped by his ex-girlfriend, and he already doesn't like Christmas. So that's like the main thing we start with. We start the show with Lily narrating, and like she's describing about how much like Christmas is like the best time of the year. And immediately we're introduced to Dash when he says it's the most detestable time of the year. The forced cheer, the frenzied crowds, like the carolers who had so much eggnog they don't even know the words. And of course the couple is naive enough to believe that holiday like cheer is like an excuse to love. Like that's kind of almost like word for word like his first line in the show. He's also a child of divorce, and he has like a lot of time like letting people in. That's why like Christmas in general is not like the best time, because he always feels like alone, and especially he's not really feeling like the love during these holiday seasons. And I relate to him. Like I relate to like Dash and Lily like equally. I especially like relate to Dash on the fact that he is a child of divorce. My parents are also divorced, so trauma bond. My parents are divorced too. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're divorced. He kind of like talks briefly about like how the divorce kind of like affected him. He kind of like has like a huge like lack of trust, because he feels like his parents didn't really like tell him the truth, because like he found out that they're getting divorced because like they told him he's gonna like have two Christmases, have two birthdays, two presents, and that's when he learned how like his parents are divorcing. For me, I'm not gonna like talk so much about this, but like my parents divorced when I was 6 years old. And I have to say that when I was 6 years old, I did not know that my parents were divorced at all. No one told me that my parents, like, my mom never told me, like, that, like, they were divorced. Like, other family members never really, like, said, like, the word divorced. I kind of, like, me and my sister, we basically just, like, figured it out on our own. And our dad came around, like, when we were little, like, sometimes. Like, that's what I remember the most. Like, he just, like, visited. It's not like he wasn't in the picture at all, but I'm used to, like, waking up in a house and not having him, like, around because I mostly lived with my mom and my sister, like, throughout all my life until I was 13, and then she died. And it took me until, like, I'm 18 right now, at the time of this recording, how much their divorce affected, like, shaped my views on, like, relationships in general, love in particular. And what I feel comfortable saying right now is I can relate to Dash's feelings of, like, not really, like, letting people in because it's like you never know if, like, people are gonna, like, leave you or, like, what do they want from you. Like, people can be, like, very, like, not very good sometimes, and sometimes, like, you fear, like, making the same mistakes that that your parents make. And sometimes I feel like that too. There's like a lot of, like, stuff for therapy in the future on, like, how can I, like, like, recognize if I have, like, similar patterns and, like, when to, like, not fall into, like, similar patterns like my parents made. But yeah, I can relate to Dash's, like, problems of, like, not letting people in and, like, being affected by parents of, like, being affected by, like, your parents' divorce because, like, this shit sticks sometimes. Even if the divorce was, like, positive, but, like my parents' divorce was not positive at all. It was a bitter divorce. But that's kind of all. I'm just gonna stop right there on that one. The next character, like, the second protagonist is Lily, and she's, like, a huge optimist who loves Christmas because Christmas is mostly, like, for her family, it's like a holiday full of romance. And she's obviously someone who, like, read a lot of, like, romance books. Guilty. Guilty. But for me, it's more like Disney movies, watching cartoon characters fall in love. I know. But that's, like, everybody. That was, like, every kid in, like, the early 2000s. Like, 2000s kids, we kind of, like, grew up on, like, Disney romance, like, Renaissance, in my opinion. Well, that's, like, all kids, but, like, I feel like there was, like, a huge spike for, like, kids who grew up in the 2000s who just, like, loved, feasted, thirsted on, like, romance, like, movies and cartoon characters. So much content of, like, cartoon romance. We had Kim and Ron. We had couples in, like, I think, like, Ben 10. Like so many, like, I can't really, like, I don't know, I can't really, like, they don't really, like, not a lot of, like, couples, like, cartoon couples, like, come to mind. But, like, in the 2000s, there's, like, a huge, like, spike on, like, romance, like, content and cartoons, and we were all just, like, sitting at the TV staring, shipping these characters, writing, like, fan fictions. And it's still going strong for 2000 kids, like, and we're all, like, grown up to an extent, and we're, like, still, like, shipping characters and, like, cartoons and, like, TV shows. Like, some things never change. We're just, like, products of, like, a generation. I love us sometimes. She's also socially, like, awkward. Again, twins. And under all that optimism, she, like, has, like, a lot of trouble making friends. She's mentioned this. She has, like, a lot of trouble making friends, and, like, her, like, family, like, says, like, well, that's because you're just too cool for people your age, and, like, you know. But, like, she's, like, considered, like, an old soul to an extent. I've been called an old soul, and like I saw this joke by my favorite comedian, Taylor Tomlinson. Like I recommend like you guys like listen to her specials, like specifically like Have It All and Look at You on Netflix. They're like so good. But a joke that she says like she was called an old soul, which is what adults call you when you don't want when they don't want to say loser in front of your parents. There's like a little bit of truth behind every joke, and like there was like a little bit truth, and I was called an old soul too. And she thinks that they're just simply like being nice. I feel her on that. Like I feel like when people like tell me that, I feel like they're just like being nice to me. They're just like being nice and saying like that's like a nice way of saying yeah you're kind of like a loser, but you're so cool though. Anyway, she has trouble making friends and like getting out of her bubble. Don't we all? But I relate to her on that. I read somewhere online that she's also kind of like autistic coded. I want to like kind of like expand on that because like this is kind of where I also relate to Lily because like as a neurodivergent person, specifically I have like ASD, autism. Over the years, I've had like a lot of like trouble making friends. And I've always felt like very like separated from like kids my own age. I never truly like connected with people my own age sometimes. I most likely like made friends with like adults, specifically like in elementary school. I remember like this one IEP teacher I had, and like, and she was like so nice, very nice, and I became friends with her, and it was like a nice like little like teacher student relationship, and for some reason I just related like growing up around like adults in general and like interacting with adults in general and just simply like sometimes being associated as like socialized as an adult at times. I just happen to like sometimes like be more friends with like grown ass adults than with people my own age. That's not to say like I never had friends my own age. I did, but sometimes like there was always like this disconnect to an extent. And I kind of like got made fun of like a lot in school. Like elementary school was like very rough because like everybody was like the main thing I remember in my like childhood is like everybody was just so mean to me, like just super mean. And Lily just like herself also like struggled to like fit in the most in school. And like that I'm only like mentioning this is just simply like to like create like connection between like this is why I relate to like Lily because like I can relate to like Lily's feeling of like just simply like wanting to like be accepted in like in a community like school and like having a hard time doing it. And she's now 17 in the show and she's just kind of like accepted like okay I'm just never gonna like fit in anywhere and kind of like it just like create like a self-fulfilling like prophecy of like well this is just how it is. But as like the show goes on she's learned that like no like even though like past experiences of like trying to be social or like making friends were shitty, if we keep like saying that like well that's just how it's always gonna be then nothing's really gonna change. It's up to us to make like it's up to us to make like a difference if we want to like see change within ourselves, and that just means like simply like putting yourself out there at times. And even when people like reject us, like it has nothing really to do like with us. It like has everything to do with the other person, and we can feel sad for a minute, and we can like feel what we need to feel, and we can just like move on with our day and just simply like continue trying. And when you want to like be in your bubble then like sure we can like be in our bubble, but like we just it wouldn't hurt us to like get out of our bubble. That's the like main like point of like Lily's journey, like to get out of our bubble and to like experience new things. Next I want to like talk a little bit about like the secondary characters because like they played a huge part in the show and they kind of like help carry the show because they're like such a good support system for Dash and Lily. And for people who like claim to be like loners, they have like a good support system. They have friends. Especially Dash. She claims to be like the biggest loner. The first up is Langston, and he's Lily's brother. He's super supportive and is like a romantic just like Lily. And he has like a romance, like sometimes like he has like many romances, but like he's dated in the past. Christmas is where he met his his ex-boyfriend, and they broke up. And he's now like seeing a guy named Benny, but breaks up with him like halfway throughout the show after learning he's going to be like going away for like 2 weeks. I made a mental like note in my outline that this is the stupidest reason ever, because he said the reason why he broke up with him is because he was in a long distance relationship, but like Benny's going away for 2 weeks. You think he's gonna be unfaithful for like 2 weeks? Like, dude, it's like 2 weeks. Like, you can like talk on the phone. Like, you guys can text. Like, he's gonna be back after those 2 weeks. Like, that's like a stupid reason to like break up with someone if you can't like handle being alone for being away for like 2 weeks. Like, dumbest thing like ever. If it was like a year, then sure. Then that I would have understood like if you like broke it off then. But Ben, like Langston, like it was only 2 weeks. Like, you're not gonna you can't handle 2 weeks. Like, and he was giving like Lily relationship advice like the whole process of the show. He helped. He was the first one who wrote out the clues for the first there. Like, he wrote out the clues for the Strand when Dash first found the book. And like he helped like Lily do that, and he was like giving her like a little bit of like advice on like how to like get out of her shell more, because like Dash was like giving her dares to like challenge herself and like give her like get her out of her shell, specifically like going to like a club. He kind of like has shitty like relationship advice when he like literally like breaks up with someone who's like going away for like 2 weeks. Like again, like it's like so like silly. Like, it's only like 2 weeks, Langston. Like, the fuck. Anyway. But in the end, Langston and Betty get back together. He like threw snowballs at Benny's window and said like, hey, you can like here's like I got you like this journal, like you can mail it from like Puerto Rico. Which was kind of like cute. And that's like his story arc, and that's in the show. The next up is Boomer, Dash's best friend. He's also very optimistic, and he loves cinema and film. Basically the same thing, but anyway. Specifically like Die Hard. He's a huge Die Hard fan. He's very supportive of Dash, and he was like the main like person who was like really wanted them like to get who really wanted like Dash and Lily to get together. So like he first saw Lily when she like dropped off the book, and like they had like a whole conversation, and he's like been like delivering the book back and forth to like from Lily to Dash. And what I like most about him is like he's not like a token black character, because like we actually like learn a little bit about him and his life. Well, for like instance, like his aunt works for the Food Network, and I think his family is like huge like chefs, and I think they live in like Brooklyn. I think I don't remember, but what I do know is that his family owns and they're running a restaurant called the Two Boots Pizza Parlor, where he also works. He's a simple guy, very supportive, very nice, and we should all like appreciate a friend like Boomer. I want a best friend named Boomer. The next character is Priya, Dash's ex-girlfriend. A sweet girl, but often she often treated Dash like a Ken zombie. I wrote in my notes. Basically, well, not treating him like that, but like when Dash is around her, like he kind of like acts like a Ken zombie. Basically like dressing him and like talking for him, like if they're like at social events, like Dash is obviously like doesn't like talking, but like Priya be like trying to like be like supportive, like kind of like talks for him. And that notion is like very nice. It's not like callous or like malicious of her to do that. She just wants to like him to be like comfortable, which is fine. Like if you're an extrovert dating an introvert, if you're an extrovert dating an introvert, like I mean that's what we would like for you to do sometimes. But like I get with Dash is like if you're always talking for them, they will just never they're just like never will like do it. And like you gotta like talk sometimes. I'm learning, and like you know that's kind of like what I'm learning. Like I would like a partner who can sometimes like talk for me in like certain situations. Like if I like give them the signal, like I'm not really like I'm kind of like I'm kind of like going into like a little bit of like a burnout. Like my like I can't really like something in my like brain is like telling me it's not like letting me speak right now. Like it's hard to talk. I have moments like that where like I read it. I think it's called like autistic burnout. And like one of the like signs is like you just don't really have the energy to talk anymore. Like you just like zone out for like some reason. Like your battery just like runs so like low. It's like your brain's like turning off all of a sudden. And like the part of me that like and the part of my brain that's like that controls like my like speak like my speech. Like sometimes like it might go like more slower, like words might not come out so good. Like someone could like be like saying like hey, but like my brain's not telling me like say hey back, so I like just smile. Like it gets like that. My brain's like weird sometimes like that. Oh. Mm. But like yeah, one problem, like one critique I have with her is that she acts very flirty with Dash when like even like after like she told him she even after Dash told her that he's like kind of like seeing like Lily. He's talking to Lily, and like he told her all about their dares and like you know. But Priya is kind of like acting like they're like back together, and they even like kissed. And this is mostly because like this is like the reason why she's acting like this is like she comes like her dad like moves like a lot because her dad's kind of like in the army, and the reason why they broke up in the first place is because like her dad like got a new post, and she like obviously has to move. And if you like I hear like kids who like come from like military like families, when their parent like gets like a new position, it kind of like obviously like when you're a person like who moves a lot, it's hard to like maintain like make friends or like maintain like romantic like relationships because like you know you never know like how long they're gonna last. And also not everyone can like do like long distance because you don't really like know if like you're ever gonna like come back. And like she's like a minor, so like she has to like go with her parents, so they broke up. And when she came back, she's coming like back, she's like moving back to the city. She wanted to like like play like restart like nothing happened. Like she wanted like she wanted to like restart the whole thing like nothing happened, which something obviously did, which is kind of like shitty when like you kind of like broke his heart to an extent. Like Priya, like things change, like I don't know, you know, things change, and she just wants something familiar. But she does get to start over again with a possible new relationship with Boomer, because like the last scene like we see of her is her and Boomer seeing Die Hard. No, not seeing Die Hard. Seeing collation. It was about like a stapler or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But they're like talking about like the movie, and they're like sweetly like holding hands. And I think Dash will be okay with this because again, they're like Priya and Dash like ended on like good terms this time, and they're just gonna like remain like civil from now on. Next up is Edgar, an old middle school crush Lily once had. He's also like the reason why she's like this, because like she talks about a memory she had in like middle school. It was the year of the friendship bracelets, and she mentions that like she made friendship bracelets for everybody in her class, and it was a good hit. It was like a kind of a hit for like the kids, and I think most of the kids like liked it. But Edgar came up to her and asked for like if she had one for him, and she talks about like how like she had like written like journals of like conversations that they had, and like she had a huge crush on this guy. But she saw like some bracelets on the floor, and he was like laughing to her friends like, and the one thing she remembers the most is like him saying she's so weird, and that hurt her feeling so much. And this kind of like set off like a chain reaction of like she thought that she was finally fitting in, and equates this to like she equates this to like Alice in Wonderland, where Alice is at like the tea party with the Mad Hatter, and there's like so many like rules and like etiquette that like Alice can't like follow, and that's like how she like felt with like school. That was like a good like it's like a good connection to like being social in school to Alice in Wonderland. Like if you want friends, like don't like be different. Like just like don't be yourself, and like that's kind of like what she was saying. Like she was saying like she was like learning like harshly like if you want friends, like don't be yourself to fit in. And that's like so contradicting, because like wouldn't you want friends who like you for you, like, and wouldn't you want to be friends with someone who's like being themselves or like something like that's like so weird. But yeah, I learned that like I learned that the hard way too. He's also kind of like a basic white boy, kind of. Also comes from a rich family, I'm assuming. And according to Dash, he just like does whatever he thinks in his like head. And he's kind of a douchebag, but like kind of like a lovable douchebag to an extent. Anyway, that's kind of all I have to say about him. Last but not least, final segment is why Dash and Lily work as a couple. First things first, they're both introverts. And I feel like a couple, like, if you're like, I feel like when you're dating, when you're an introvert and you're dating an introvert, that is like the best case scenario of all time. I am also kind of an introvert, and it would be kind of like a best case scenario if like my partner is also kind of like an introvert. But anyway, the relationship is also built on them getting to know each other's personality, interests, and past within the notebook. By basically like doing their dares, they learn so much about each other, and they just simply like connect with each other like cerebrally. I think that's the word. Cerebral. It's like a huge cerebral like attraction they have towards each other, and they never like see each other and like till like they go to the party in episode like 7. No, I mean 6. They see each other in episode 6 for the first time, and like they just like, and like they're slowly like, even then like you can see like even like when they like when they meet each other like in person, when they don't even know like it's the other person, they just have like this like great connection with each other. And it makes it like, it's not like the main part is like because like they have so much like cerebral like connection and attraction towards each other's like personality, and especially like, through their own words, it makes like their love like more genuine. Like it's not based on like physical attraction alone, although like it's not like they're both very cute, in my own opinion. Very cute people. They challenge each other. They do. Lily challenges Dash to be more open, to not always see the negative in every single thing, because Dash is very cynical, and Lily challenges him to like be calm, because specifically in his situation with his dad, more specifically, she teaches him to like find his mochi, like when his mind is calm, when he's dealing with like situations of like stress, when he clears his mind, he can like see it more clearly and like diffuse like a possible like confrontation, like possible like blow up argument with his dad. And it worked. He and his dad were like able to like calm down for a minute and just simply like have a nice like casual like conversation. And how it works in return, like Dash also challenges Lily to like be less Lily. Like if she's feeling like a negative feeling, just like it's okay for her to like express those feelings, because like she doesn't always have to be like so happy and positive all the time, because obviously no one feels happy and positive all the time. And it's nice for her. I think it's like super nice for her to like be able to like express it. And also like he like inspires her to like step out of her own comfort zone. He challenges her to like step out of her comfort zone while also like respecting her boundaries of like, okay, like maybe like I pushed her like a little too far, maybe I made her too uncomfortable with this, so like let me make sure she's okay. And it happened in like episode 4 with Cinderella, where he worried that he pushed Lily too far with her going to like that punk show, because he like knew that maybe like she's not like, she might not want like to be there. So he, with like just she just like knowing in general like she might be uncomfortable, she might run to the bathroom, so he writes this message, of this sweet message like, get back out there, Lily, with a smiley face, because like he knew that she might not be like okay, like she might get a little anxious about it. So to give her like a little bit of encouragement, just like to let her know like, hey, I understand, but you never know unless you try. So I believe in you, so like you can get through this. And that's very nice of him to do that. And obviously like she does come out of her shell, and it takes like having a partner who can challenge you to like do that. And last but not least, they accept each other as they are. Even though they challenge each other, there are still parts of their personality that makes them them. Lily likes that Dash can be like cynical sometimes, and like he's very like smart in like his love for books, and he can be like a little playfully like snarly sometimes. But she also like appreciates his warmness and kindness, and he likes Lily's intelligence. She likes that Lily's very super creative, like with her passion for like making things. He likes that she's very brave. She's kind, and she like always follows her heart, no matter like what. That they just like appreciate each other, no matter what. They just accept each other as they are, while also like challenging each other to be like the best versions for themselves, not for each other, but for themselves. And even though like they find out that they're not the person in each other's head, they realize that that doesn't mean like they make them like, it makes them strangers, because like throughout their whole like process of like dares and like adventures, in the process of, in like the span of like 8 episodes, they realize like that they know each other better than like most people in their lives, because like they just are just like they're just they're just soulmates. They connect. And that's kind of all I have to like say about that. So, thank you for listening to Pisces Prince. We've come up on the last episode of season 1, like this era of like 2024. I like really appreciate like you like talking about this show, and I feel like this is the perfect like show to like end this year on. Like I want to like end. I want like the last episode of this year to be Dash and Lily, because it's like the perfect Christmas movie, and it's very bingeable, very enjoyable, and also you get to see like the Jonas Brothers, and like Nick Jonas is also like one of the producers on the show, and you get to like see like a whole like live like beautiful concert, and you also like get to see like the most beautiful like scenery of New York, and you just get to enjoy like so much from this show. But anyway, that's all I have for like for this episode. I hope you guys enjoy your Christmas. Happy holidays. Okay, we'll talk later. Okay, bye.